Hello YouTube, this is Random Nation. I decided to start a new series on my channel here. It's going to be all about phones and reviewing the different types of phones. The phone that I'm using right now is the ZTE Z Max Pro. It's got a 6-inch screen. It's got a 13 megapixel camera, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and 3400 lithium ion battery. On the back of it, as you can see in this picture, it has a fingerprint sensor, it has a flashlight, and it also of course has the 13 megapixel camera. On the front it has a I want to say it's an 8 megapixel camera, but I could be wrong. Let's see. But then, of course, once you come down here, it also tells you that it is 6.5 inches by 3.5 inches by a third of an inch thick. It's 6.17 ounces. The screen is the 6 inches. It's got Gorilla Glass on it, which I can tell you just by experience that the glass is breakable. It is not that unbreakable stuff that you can smack with a hammer as hard as you want. Because my screen broke from falling out my pocket onto the floor one day. It's running Android 6.0, which is Marshmallow, and it's got the Snapdragon chipset. It does have the micro SD card slot for it, and it's 256 gigs that you can stick in there, but it's got 32 internal gigs, which honestly I've never even really had to use my SD card. I have a 16 gig SD card in my phone. I've never had to use it, not once, and I've had this for coming up on a year. The secondary camera, I was wrong. It's not 8 megapixel. It's a 5 megapixel camera. The face detection does work really well. The autofocus is okay. It has its moments where it doesn't really want to do right. Now, I'm going to say this, when it comes to sound quality on these phones, it is by far one of the worst I've ever seen. The speakerphone is about as loud as most regular phones are without being on speakerphones. Okay, and as far as the 3.5 millimeter jack, you plug anything into that thing and it does not want to play properly. Now keep in mind, I have had issues with the fact that I do carry this to work with me all the time, so it could have got something down in it, but from what I've seen on it, I haven't seen anything in it. It does have a built-in FM radio in it, which is kind of cool, but you also have to have headphones plugged in for it to actually work. And just as all phones, it does have GPS, it does have the 4.1 Bluetooth. The charger on it is a Type-C charger. If you don't know what that is, it's, as it says right here, it's a reversible connector. I personally prefer the micro USB connectors. This one is not the one that I prefer. It does have that accelerometer in it, which means that you can use it as a speedometer, like if you were to download a speedometer app. It has the gyroscope in there, which means it can tell you which direction you're facing, all that stuff. It does have the compass in there, which I always thought that was funny because it has the gyroscope and the compass in there, which are the exact same thing when it really runs down to it. It has proximity in it, which means that it can tell you how far metal or your hand or something is away from the phone. Which kind of sucks because the fact it also means that if you hold your hands in the wrong position on the phone, you're going to be blocking part of your signal as far as your data signal. And as I said before, it does have the fingerprint. It's got all the basic messaging in there. It's got the HTML5 browser on there, which you could also go over to what they call desktop mode with the browser, so you're good on that. The battery, is okay. When you first get it for the first few months, it'll hold charge pretty good, but after a while it'll eventually get to this point to where it wants to die really fast. Now, comparing this to other phones I will do in later videos, but what I would like from all of you guys is for y'all to comment to me down in this comment section and let me know what kind of phones you have. That way I can compare them to the different types of phones. And of course what I'll do is I'll start off with comparing them to this phone, and we'll let you know where your phone stands on the pier of being good phones. Of course, they say the more you pay, the better you get. But honestly, this phone right here has all the same qualities as one of the higher end phones, one of the more expensive phones. The only difference is unlike the higher end phones have metal casings. This, of course, has the plastic casing. That don't really matter to me, because, I mean, what does it matter? I mean, it's plastic or metal. Yes, metal's going to be more durable, but, I mean, it's not. Huh? It gets dense, yeah. Plastic, on the other hand, gets chipped and might get a few little scratches on it here and there, but then again, so does metal. So, I mean, the only difference that I've really seen as far as between this phone and the expensive one is the metal, the plastic. And some say the battery lasts longer on the metal ones. I don't really see it because I have a friend that has one of the Galaxy S, whatever they are. And her battery dies about as quick as mine does. But I have noticed the fact she has really good signal. But then again, where we're at most of the time when I see her, she should have good signal because we're out here in the middle of a city. So I'm just kind of curious as to what her phone would do in an area like where I live. I have really good signal, except for in my house, because, you know, my house is made of metal. So it kind of blocks off the signal some, so. But guys, like I said, leave your comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And let me know what you think of this. Let me know what kind of phone you're using down there. That way I can check them all out, and we're going to see how this goes. Y'all have a great day. This is Random Nation out.